bookish friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am kicking off my end of the year booktube videos. This means that for the next 4 Thursdays, I think this will be going up on, yeah, it's every Thursday. I will be talking to you guys about my book stats, books I borrowed that I'm not gonna buy, which is what this video is, my favorite books, my most disappointing books, so on and so forth. Today we're doing the books I borrowed that I'm just not gonna buy. So the first book I talked a bit about at length in my one wrap-ups. That is The Love Curse of Melody McIntyre. I heard about this book from Books and Lala and she didn't love it, but I was kind of on the fence about it. It sounded like an okay story, so I just decided I would listen to it on Libby, and I'm so glad I did because I really did not enjoy this book. The concept was there. It's all about Melody McIntyre. She is a stage manager at her high school. Sorry, I moved you guys down because I just felt like I looked really small. So she is a stage manager at her high school, and every year there is some sort of superstition. Like, they think their theater program's cursed, so they come up with a new superstition. They have to follow all these rules. And the previous show they did, Melody had a really bad breakup in the middle of the show, which almost ruined the show. So their new rule is she can't fall in love with anybody, and of course she does, and then it goes from there. The main thing I didn't like about this book is the friends just sucked. Like, they were not nice people. They weren't good people. I mean, at least the way they were written. But this was a female-female romance, so I thought I would like it. It was YA, like that's kind of in my wheelhouse of things I like. But there was so little romance placed on it. I just basically felt like I was reliving middle school when I did the plays and musicals and was just going through the rehearsals again, and it just wasn't doing anything for me. It made high schoolers seem really stupid and like emotionally inept, and that's just not the case. So, not gonna buy it. The next one is actually a series, so it is the Holo The Haunted, and eventually, I haven't read the last book yet, but I'm not gonna buy it if I'm not getting the rest of the series. That's The Hidden. So these are paranormal romances, and they're young adult, but I would say they're that age range between like 8th and 10th grade, with the writing very much in the style of Sarah Shepard, where the story starts out really good, and then kind of as you go along, it gets slightly more convoluted and slightly more convoluted till the point that you're like, this is not realistic at all. Like, you really have to suspend your level of disbelief. I felt like the books were too long for what they were. I wasn't getting enough of the paranormal romance and like real life romance versus, and the like mystery, because there is a mystery element to them, compared to like some of the filler fluff. Like, I feel like we just didn't need it. And the filler fluff made everything else really convenient when it came up later in the book. So, you know, there is that. I did like certain elements that it deals with a lot of grief. The mystery's pretty good. But again, it's like the best friend dies and then her friend is left to cope on her own. But other than that, I don't need them on my shelves. I won't reread them. So I'm just going to move on from them. Next one, I actually thought I would really like too, and really glad that I got it from the library, because this one just wasn't it at all. That book is It Only Happens in the Movies. This book is about a girl who works in a movie theater, kind of makes fun of rom-coms and stuff. So she's very much like not like other girls, but she also pushes against that trope a little bit. But basically she finds this boy who's a filmmaker, and they start kind of working on this short film together, develop some sort of romance, and he's a little bit older than her. Like, between the start of their romance to the end, I probably couldn't tell you anything about this book. I can tell you the beginning, I can tell you the end. Anything in between just didn't, like, there was no moment that I was like, oh, I'm shocked, or anything like that. Like, as soon as the one character was introduced, you kind of just went, okay, well, we know where this is going. Neutral on it, and therefore I just don't need it. This next one's a really unpopular opinion, especially with Book Talk being as big as it is right now, which is great. But this book has been on there. Well, a couple months ago it was really big, and now it's kind of died off. However, it's Desperate Measures by Katie Robert. And I guess, like, I feel deceived by BookTube, because everyone was recommending this. They're like, it's an amazing romance, it's a twisted romance, it's dark, it's about Jafar and Jasmine and them kind of like falling in love. I use that term loosely. But I felt like we just got dropped in the middle of something, and I wanted just a little more backstory. I mean, this book I thought it would have a lot more plot too, just based on what people were saying about it. It does not. It is so smutty, and it's like right out of the gate. And it's captor captee, but not really, because she's not really mad that he took her because her dad was kind of abusive. So it's only like 250 some pages. So it's pretty like quick to the point. I just wanted a little bit more foundation. I have a couple graphic novels I'm going to talk about. So graphic novels are very expensive. Well, not very expensive, but they're like the price of a hardcover, and for some people that's expensive, especially because graphic novel series or comics go on forever and ever and ever. So if you start the series and you really enjoy it, it's kind of an investment. So that being said, I read Primer, which I did not realize was a middle grade, and if I knew that going into it, I probably wouldn't have read it. About a girl who is a foster kid. Her foster mom, or her new foster mom, they're looking to adopt her eventually, works for the government in like a superhero division, and the whole thing is there's body paint that when you put it on your body gives you superpowers for a certain amount of time into the paint and becomes a superhero. It's very cute. It's very quick, cut and dry kind of story. I enjoyed it, but it is a little young for me and what I like to read, so I just decided that I'm not going to get the rest of the series. All right, next, another graphic novel series or comic series. That is the Goldie Vance series. Again, with this one, I feel like it's just a little young for me. Even though it is pitched as YA, it does feel a bit middle grade. It's one of those weird stories where the characters are YA age, but the dialogue and stuff comes off middle grade. So, and it's a mystery series, so it's Goldie Vance, who's young, and she's going to solve all these mysteries in Miami, Florida. She has friends there. She's also a lesbian, and you see her and her girlfriend in it, which is just a really cute sort of point to it. It's not like a main point, but it's there. And it just adds this little wholesome level of like love and everything. And the mysteries are really crazy, like very Scooby-Doo-esque, I would say, is what this is like. After I read it, I really have no desire to go back in and reread it again, so I'm just not going to get it. Everyone was ranting and raving about this book, and I feel like a bunch of people like read it more than once in 2021, and that is such a fun age. I listened to this book while we were coming back from Florida, so I listened to it in like a day and a half. This one, I feel like it was really good, but now that I know the ending, I just don't need it. It talks a lot about the white savior complex of the white mother to the child and then the guy she's dating who is white, and kind of his like performative allyship, and just kind of how people can fetishize people of color in romantic ways, but also platonic ways. But there was just certain parts of it that took me out of the story where I really wanted to be deeply invested in what was going on. Great book. I just don't feel the need to reread it. One is The June Boys, which I was a little bit disappointed in because this is a thriller, a kidnapping thriller specifically, which I haven't read in a long time. All about this serial killer who, well, I guess not serial killer, serial kidnapper, who every June they take a boy and hold them for a certain amount of time, and then eventually the boy will show back up. And they'll be kind of dirty and thin, and they never know who took them because they never see the person who did it. This sounded really thrilling and amazing. It's a girl and her best friend who are trying to find, like, her cousin ends up being one of the boys. And then throughout the book, you're reading letters of one of the boys who is being held captive, and he's talking about his experience with the other boys he's being held with. I liked it, but it felt really drawn out at certain points. And I called the, like, twist, because I saw the twist coming from, like, the middle of the book. As soon as you got more character interaction, I was kind of like, I know who did this. Because the back and forth POV was, at certain times, was great because it kept you reading. And then other times it took me too far out. So, kind of sad. I saw a lot of other people were disappointed with the book. But yeah. I feel like this book, you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between. And that is The Hating Game. I was all for this book until the ending. I thought the ending was just so lackluster. The characters were okay to me. It's a romance. There's a pretty clear outline of what is going to happen. And, I mean, I knew that going into it, and I enjoyed certain parts of it. But just, like, I felt like the hating could have been so much stronger. Like, really just go in and make it seem like he really just despises the ground that she walks on. And then, going further into the book when they start, becoming more romantically involved and stuff, I was like, okay, this is good. And I was kind of waiting for the ending because there's this looming thing. You kind of forget about it at some point in the middle and you're like, but wait, who's going to get it? Like, they made this deal that one of them gets fired or one of them, like, has to leave the other alone. And it's just kind of there, and then was very just wah wah at the end. Next one I talked about recently in my wrap up for November, and that is Ghosted in LA. Again, this is graphic novels. Don't love the main character. She kind of annoys me. However, I am intrigued by the plot, so I'm gonna keep reading it, but there is no way that I would spend my money on this series knowing what I know about the main character. Again, I talked about this in the wrap up. There are certain points where she's written as being so naive and dumb that I can't believe someone would really be this way. So I don't enjoy it. So I'm going to finish the series, but just not buy them ever, ever, ever. Next one, kind of the same idea, the Moonstruck series, except make it paranormal and make it really gay. Love that. But again, the main character, just so whiny. I don't do well with main characters who are whiny. Also, she just cried like every 5 minutes. So, yeah, didn't love it. Might not even read the rest of the series, to be quite honest. Then, the last 4 are all ones that I read really recently. One of them being House of Gucci. I read the one, I listened to it on audio, the one that has the movie tie-ins, and I feel like if I had read the original, maybe I wouldn't have felt so overwhelmed. However, I don't know what the original didn't include, so it's hard to say. This one because I want to go see the movie. There's so much, like, talking about numbers, like who owned what portion of Gucci during what year, and who worked there, and who was involved, and which family member had majority stake, and then that got moved to this person, and then this person, this person, this person. It was a lot. I just wanted to know about the murder part. So I feel like maybe that might kind of signal that I'm not going to love the movie that much. But I feel a lot of people have said that the movie focuses more on the murder. So, yeah. But I'm glad I borrowed it. It wasn't on, like, my to buy list ever. I just came across it on the app and thought I should listen to it. The last 3 are a series, and this is I think it's called Moose Springs series. Something with a moose in Alaska. So editing me here, I'm filming on my webcam, so hopefully this comes out okay. But I got cut off for some reason. I don't know where the file went. It's just gone. So I'm trying to edit the books I borrowed video, and it's just gone. So the last series I'm not going to buy that I borrowed from the library is, I think it's called the Moose Spring series. It's The Tourist Attraction, Enjoy the View, and Mistletoe and Mr. Right. I didn't hate the first book. It was just a 3-star for me. The grumpy sunshine trope just didn't I didn't get that much grumpy to sunshine on it. And then I'm in the middle of the second one, but I just know I'm not enjoying it enough to get it physically, and if I'm not going to get the first two, why get the third one? So that is it for this video. If you liked it, let me know down below, and if you are interested in hearing about all the other books that I read this year, make sure you subscribe, because every Thursday in December I am going to be talking about them. So I will see you guys in the next one.